Okay, so I was actually born and brought up in New Delhi. The actual region is Chandni Chowk, which is also in Old Delhi. My ancestral grandparents' home is in Chandni Chowk. So until 4 years of age, I was there, and then we moved along with like my parents and elder brother to the northern part of Delhi, and then from where I continued my schooling from a government girls' school. It's called Navhind Girls Senior Secondary School, followed by my bachelor's of study from University of Delhi from the St. Stephen's College. So I majored in chemistry till that point. So until 19 years of age, I was in Delhi, and I never thought of I would be leaving the country, or let's say city, for a while. I mean, I could never imagine doing so, but so the life had its own plans. So yeah, I was there. And actually, I come from a middle class family background. In my family, there's no one who has actually been to a proper college, let's say, regular college, or been having done bachelor's or master's of studies. So I was the first one to actually go to a college, and that too. Yeah, so I went to the college that is St. Stephen's. So having said that, that was named as the India's number one college of sciences in that particular year. I think it's maintaining its standards till now. So it was very pleasant, wonderful experience there. So if I look about finding influencers, in the early ages of my life, it was a bit difficult to locate those models in my family or at my home. I can name my mother as a solid example, as a pillar of strength or bravery. But when I look about finding examples, where I could look upon, I want to be that person or somebody I can go to and ask suggestions for career or science field, there was no one. In fact, there were people who were actually doing the opposite thing, not to opt for science because it's difficult, and it's costly, so much money you'd have to put into this field. So they were asking me to move towards commerce side, and you will make career easily. But yeah, I did not listen to any of those because of eventually I wanted to pursue science or be a scientist in future somehow. So I remember my school teacher, chemistry school teacher in my school. She was very fond of us, or me, I can say, and she used to teach us. In not just, let's say, the theoretical level, but laboratory used to be very exciting. And she used to share her personal stories, not just successes but also failures, so which is, I think, quite a difficult thing for a teacher to do at that particular level. I just want to quote her name, Pushpa Sharma. I mean, I miss her. So she was one of the early influencers. And going forward, then the first time where I was exposed to research was during my undergraduate levels. And there, when I just entered the St. Stephen's College, there I was surprised with the kind of dedication, and exhaustive knowledge they were providing. So it's not fair to name one of the professors. So all were great there, but how to say, finding a name here is just, I can say my school teacher was the one who really helped me to, be excited or still pursue science after 12th, let's say after school level. Yes. Oh, they are very supportive. They are the first ones who are clapping for me and, supporting me to, go forward, because it's like, and I was kind of in a way spoiled as well because nobody has done that. She's doing that. Let's support her. So eventually, like, maybe you might not expect this reaction in all the families, but in my case, they were all very, supportive and giving me motivational talks. If you are able to do that, then you should do it. Maybe somehow the opportunities or chances were not given to them, or they could not pursue that time. So everybody, let's say even in my maternal or paternal, my father's or mother's, both sides, they were so exciting. I mean, I cannot tell you the first time I was leaving the country to do my PhD at the age of 22. Uh, so many people turned up at the airport. More than 25, 30 people were there just to show me off, because the first person going for higher studies, let's say PhD, I mean, they could not even have imagined for masters or bachelors. Let's say this girl is going to do PhD in Japan. So that was an entire celebration or a festival for them. So I am really grateful for their support, for their, even today, it's just amazing to have a family like this, to be so supportive. Now I'm looking forward, the coming generations, like my cousins, they are now aiming, now one of them is in college in Kirorimal College pursuing physics. So now they know the path, they are following it, that somebody has done it, so can we. So it's really great to see, even in our family, things are changing, people are now going to colleges and studying. So it was not directly from Delhi to Japan. I was in Delhi until my bachelor's, and then I left the city at 19 to pursue my master's at IIT Hyderabad. So Hyderabad is a city. It was the south part of India. No one in our family has ever, been in that region of the country. That was also one of the bold decision that was being taken, especially by my parents. My father was still very much, how to say, anxious, or let's try, because I was getting admission in University of Delhi as well to do masters in chemistry. But I thought uh, going into IIT Hyderabad would be a much, better place for me, or let's say getting a tag of IIT would be much more prestigious. And I have already explored, studying in Delhi. I wanted to go there. Uh, so that time, yeah, again, my mother came forward and took the bold step. No, she will go to Hyderabad. And we actually planned it in a way that me, my father, and my mother, we all three went to Hyderabad with the plan that, okay, we'll go and we'll see the atmosphere there. If we like it, we'll leave you there. And if we don't like it, then we'll come back and you can study here at University of Delhi. So somehow IIT Hyderabad that time was just in a very, younger age of its establishment. I went there in 2012 and the institute was established in 2008. So it was just 3, 4 years and it was in the outskirts of the city. Nobody actually in the city knew much about the institute. So we were going in a cab, we were asking where is IIT Hyderabad, and they were understanding it as Triple IT Hyderabad, which was very much popular institute back then. Somehow we reached there in the outskirts, and it was an old campus of IIT Hyderabad. I think it was previously a school or something like a village kind of atmosphere, which I have never been to in my life till then. Uh, but somehow we went there. People were very nice. Students were very supportive, and the teachers, they were all there. Don't worry, everything will be fine, like that. So I really like the atmosphere and the support. Somehow we decided, okay, let's leave you here. And then my parents came back, left me there. That was the first time, like, I was living away. So that transition, I would say, a bit more difficult than moving from Hyderabad to Japan, because okay, I was on my own for 2 years for my master's. Uh, Eventually, we know culturally, language wise, India is so diverse. So I used to feel troubles with the language sometimes, interacting with the local people. So when I went to Japan, I was already familiar. Okay, it's okay. We can survive in a place where we do not speak the language there. So yeah, going to Japan is a different story. But first, this transition was very special when I moved from Delhi to Hyderabad. Anything in particular do you want to know about the transition from Delhi to Japan? I don't know what should I. And once you do it, like it's just the initial thing. Once you have crossed that barrier, okay, I have left the country. After that, I was pretty much confident. Okay, now I am, because when you go and live in a different country, you have to do everything on your own. Being in the same country itself, you have kind of a support from the people, from your peers, or at least making friends is much more easier. But when we cross borders, it's entirely different story, coming to language, food, culture, and socializing. So all these challenges are there, but once you have done it, then I was pretty much confident. Okay, after Japan, I'm confident to take another step to move to another different country. So somehow that was also my main goal. Okay, after finishing my PhD, I want to go to a different country to see different culture and their working, habits. And eventually, my plan was always to come back to India, but only after, gathering sufficient experiences around the world. Uh, to be able to serve in a complete package way. So after that, yeah, I was pretty much, it wasn't easy, but I was confident that I will be able to do it because I have done it in the past, like that. So here, I have just joined this position in the chemistry department at IIT Delhi about 8 months ago. So I am in a very initial phase of my establishment of my research group at IIT Delhi. And just a point to mention that talk about, there are so many, there are very few women, in STEM, especially in the faculty positions. And whenever I used to, come to attend conferences, especially in India, I used to see on the stage and all the board members are all male. So there was a very drastic, significant absence of women faces on the podium. So I used to feel very bad about it. But yeah, it's okay. Now that I'm here, okay, I feel my presence somehow might motivate someone in our department, or there are so many young girls here doing PhD. uh, so it just feels great to be here, and the department has been very welcoming. After a decade, I think the woman was hired, which was me in the department. So it was a great feeling. So now here I am establishing a group. We proudly name it as Nanostructured Materials for Sustainable Energy. So what I have been doing with my decade-long experience, starting with PhD, is we design new type of materials, which are novel catalyst or photocatalyst. They can function in the presence of sunlight. So we are trying to harvest the light coming from the sun to be able to make the fuels. For example, we can employ them in the hydrogen generation or CO2 reduction. So to be able to design such type of new materials, it's really exciting. I mean, it's nerve-wracking, but to be able to envision that journey for the next couple of years, and to be able to actually finalize those projects what are in my mind right now, it's really exciting. So the journey from here would be to be able to make these kind of, or to investigate the properties of these new novel materials which has not been studied yet. And somehow if we are successful in this journey, it would be, let's say, a small contribution towards the society to be able to develop such kind of materials for solar as a solar fuels. Okay, so yeah, when I joined, so there was only one woman professor in the entire department, and we are not a small department. We are a very established, very old. We were established in 1963. I'm not saying there were not women professors. Of course, they were there before, maybe retired or somehow. When I joined, I just saw one woman full professor here at the department. So first of all, I approached her in the beginning because that's how, you feel the support. And I approached her for her guidance and for help. And she was, of course, very much supportive and very welcoming and very happy that finally, somebody has joined after her to be the second woman presence in the department. And of course, now we are having many more women faculties joining, but that's kind of the gap was there, and I am happy to fulfill that gap in the department. And everybody is just so supportive. Like when I joined, I was sitting in my office and they just come and knock at your door. Okay, let's go for tea or coffee, or they'll just introduce themselves and uh, create an environment which is very much welcoming. So I did not feel the presence of like hierarchy is there, which is there sometimes between the elder and the younger, generation, or the kind of different types of people. But I did not feel that. It has been wonderful, especially with our head of the department and everyone. So I'm not sugarcoating the things. It is reality, and I am really feel um, very happy to be part of the department. And I can envision, the journey here. Let's say the next uh, a decade, I can envision that, okay, my research lab would be established. I'll have so many students. Right now, we are a team of 4, but I can imagine, okay, we'll be growing and expanding here. we'll be doing projects, we'll be, going to conferences, meetings, and all that is just make a sum package of an exciting career journey ahead. No, I think see, what I realized is because my entire education was not from India. I left the country at 22 and now I returned back at 31. So this period, the 10 years period, I have never worked in India. This is the first time, like professionally, I'm working here and getting to know the system, which is again a different thing. But much more comfortable place to be in. But what I have noticed here, so we have, let's say, more than 60% girls in PhD, right? And 40% boys. So we always see the number in PhD student is more in girls. But what just happened after PhD, they just do not continue uh, the journey. I want to tell them, do not just be satisfied with just a PhD. We need further experience, postdoc, go for postdocs, do many more, research experiences at least, because being in a core science department, of course, the competition is a bit higher. I'm not saying it is very, very difficult, but there is a certain requirement of a n number of years of expertise and the research public. So many criterias I think are based on that they are doing the recruiting. So somehow I feel after PhD, the women are stopping, the girls are stopping at that stage, and they are happy either they are personal choices or professionally making choices. I am not sure. I'm still trying to, do the interaction, get to know from time to time. But this is the problem. What I felt, if they could continue after PhD and gain that particular, expertise and experiences, it very much in the next few years we can see many more women's, not just in our department. I think in everywhere you see the IITs, the faculty board finding women's and picking them up. It's very few. Like we can count them on our fingers. Somehow, if this can be done, we can see many more women faculties in future. Oh my God. I mean, I did not think about it. I mean, to be able to lead a research group right now, because this is like a dream come true. I mean, I did not talk about my professional journey yet, but since I did my PhD from Japan and then I moved to UK as a Royal Society postdoctoral fellow. And I came back to Japan again because what happened with these fellowships is they are always fixed number of years. Let's say Royal Society was for 2 years and my contract was 2 years. So I had to actually kind of move from one place to another. So after finishing that tenure in UK for 2 years, I moved to Japan for another fellowship from JSPS postdoctoral fellowship for 2 years. And when I was just pursuing that fellowship, so and so happened that some faculty position advertisement came up, and my supervisor discussed with me that would you like to work in Japan forever, like to be here for long-term basis. So it was a tenure track assistant professor position. The only requirement is you have to speak in Japanese, you have to teach the students in Japanese, but you can do the research in English because that's somehow the barrier language is there. So I kind of agreed upon it with my limited proficiency in the language, but I kind of worked hard for that particular period of time. Okay, I have to learn new words and vocabulary and all that aspect. So the interview was very tough, I must say. I did not expect. It's one of the national universities in Japan, Shizuoka University, but I thought, okay, they would be kind to me. An international woman is coming to join their department, but it was tough and they asked me so many questions. It lasted an hour and everything was happening in Japanese. Some I could answer, some I couldn't. But probably they liked my research and work profile and I got that position. So I was working there from the year 2022. April 2022, I joined and I was working happily there, and it's just 6 months. I even forgot about it. Okay, I applied to a position at IIT Delhi. But somehow the interview, email came to me 6 months working into that position. Okay, you are invited for an interaction with the panel at IIT Delhi. So returning back is was always my plan, but somehow because I never actually did my research in India, so one disadvantage was I did not know many people in India, or I did not know the channel, how to come back. So I was happy, okay, I would be working in Japan forever. Uh, so I was kind of proud of it. Okay, I was able to survive, and working in a Japanese culture, Japanese environment, people are very nice and supportive, but somehow it does get lonely, and it does get, you feel a sense of isolation because the situation of women is the same there. It's nothing in India. Okay, we are seeing very few women are there in the academia, but in Japan, it's the situation was same. But somehow, yeah, that journey was going on, and landing up here is the thing I can say I'm most proud of, and to continue this journey, let's say, forever. I hope so. But I just, in summary, I'm just turning 32 actually next week, but it's okay. Yeah. That's how I come back, Sheila. I mean, Elsa. Otherwise, what to say? I imagine my life forever in Japan, and somehow because IIT Delhi is, one of the oldest IIT among the seven which were established earlier with the tag of Institute of Eminence, and somehow I was accustomed to the culture in Japan, but being in your own country makes it more special, and you get to socialize more, talk to people more, and of course the students. I mean, they are amazing. So finding these bright, talented minds, it's rare in other countries. So in India, we are lucky to have such bright minds who want to pursue PhD with us. So I feel very fortunate to be able to grow going forward here in the department. Yes, yes. So see, I landed in Japan in the year 2014, and I started doing my PhD at Osaka University. And because I was a student, so university has a lot of provision for international students to, come and study language, because they know learning a language would also be a plus point for uh, the international students who are coming there. Of course, university is a very international environment, but the moment you go out of campus, you have to face a supermarket, let's say. Uh, you cannot actually know what are the ingredients also inside, because everything is written in Japanese. And being a pure vegetarian myself, it was a tough task. And I knew like my funding was for 3 years for PhD. And I knew I will be here for 3 years. So why not, let's just start a new aspect to it. So I started learning language that point of time. So first 6 months, I was enrolled in a survival Japanese language course. So they taught us how to introduce ourselves and how to ask for something, what to do in case of emergency. So those aspects I learned, but then, the PhD happened. I did not get time to be in touch with my language skills. So slowly and slowly, okay, I started applying for Japanese language proficiency test. So there are like 5 levels of Japanese exam. I started from the very basic one. So I could reach number 3, I think. Yeah, right now I'm in intermediate level proficiency. But till today, I try whenever I get time, I try to, read some news in the simple language, because language learning it's a never ending process, right? Till now, like my Twitter handle says that I want to be proficient in Japanese one day. So uh, still the efforts will be ongoing. So yeah, it was difficult to prepare for interview. My supervisor actually sat with me. He practiced me a couple of questions, what kind of questions they might ask, and you have to be. So I prepared actual script of answers. Okay, what if this question comes? I need to know the right vocabulary and what in general, interview questions. So kind of a script I prepared. But teaching is a entirely different game game show in Japanese. So they did not give me teaching right away. it was more or less kind of taking tutorials. So you go in a class and you solve the problems with them, but they don't understand English. Maybe they can read, but like hearing the pronunciation from foreigners is difficult for them. So yeah, I used to practice just those questions perfectly in Japanese, and then to announce and then to discuss. And there are also senior professors. In the initial lectures, they accompanied me to my lecture so that everything is going well, because that was the first time they hired any international, professor in their department. So they were also kind of yeah, I graduated my PhD at 25, and I think till now my supervisor's youngest graduated PhD. I was the first Indian he ever took to guide for his. He's a really big known professor in the field of material science and designing these new photocactus materials. So till today we are collaborating and we are working together. So kind of maintaining these human connections and relation was the thing which I kind of given priority the most, and to be able to nurture these relations going forward. But eventually, I mean, this is what it is. It's really, I mean, nice. Okay, so there are two things which I want to point out. One, I think I've also written on my web page about hard work. So, in my bachelor's, one of the professors always used to say there are no shortcuts to success, right? So, hard work is the only way to achieve the success. So, it's all about hard work, patience, and learning from failures. So, I always believe in doing that, just to keep the noise away and just focus on what we have right now. And one thing, this is okay about the work. And the second aspect is about kindness, just to be learned to be kind to each other. And okay, most often we behave well with our superiors and elders, but we forget about the younger ones, or let's say even our students. So I'm trying to indulge that aspect, just to be kind to each other, making the place a little bit better with the virtue of kindness. Oh, yeah. So one problem with me is the overthinking aspect. I overthink everything too much. So I would say that 16-year-old, don't overthink too much. Just relax and everything will be fine. I mean, I used to get worried so much with the, rejections. I used to cry for so long. Oh my God, this is the end of the world, but this is not it is, right? And that's how your family and the supporters that time they come forward and tell us. But yeah, it would be good if I knew that time that failures are actually redirections towards a better place. So I had so many failures, but yeah, let's not go into that. But they were very good redirections in my life and my career. So wherever I am, I feel grateful to have those redirections from time to time. So if I would be knowing that, do not worry, everything will be fine. It would be good. Okay, so sustainability, I think it's not just about the choices that we are making in our day-to-day life. It's also our like social behaviors and how we are making it, a better place for all. So very few small things which I would like to do. For example, I'm a coffee person. I never take their cups from the coffee shop. I always take my mug with them. It's just very small habits. If we can indulge, in our day-to-day lives, that would be great. I have stopped buying these notebooks. I have this digital paper. Okay, it's all gone. I have become very conscious of printing papers. Earlier, I used to feel if I don't print a research paper, it will not go in my head. I mean, I need to read line by line, but that has totally, gone out from my lifestyle or, my career point of view. I can do very much by avoiding all these small aspects, and just in taking these small habits into day-to-day life, I think would make a great difference. And if somehow they all others can see us making these small choices, they can make big impact in future. Okay, so role models, or would say mentors, can we consider them same? Okay, So I have felt that we can never have less of a mentors in our life. Like, uh, if I have four, if I have 10, there's always good to have many more mentors in our life. Unfortunately, I was never having, being guided by a woman researcher or woman faculty. It was my wish, but so and so it never could happen. Maybe I can guide many more to be a woman researcher. But yeah, so starting with, I think I want to name Professor Ashok, late Ashok Kumar Prasad. He was the very first, professor who actually accepted me to do a summer internship in his research lab when I was continuing my bachelor's program at University of Delhi. So his lab was just adjacent to our college. Like behind the college is the entire chemistry department of University of Delhi. So he kind of agreed to guide me for a summer program in 2011, I think, when I was in my second year of bachelor's. That was the first time I saw what research is, how it looks like to work in a research laboratory. And it was not like I decided that I will be doing PhD that time, but it was a positive experience that, okay, this is something, I can enjoy. And moving forward, my PhD supervisor, Professor Hiromi Yamashita, he has been a constant source of support right from the day one. And till now, I get in touch with him for, any small advices, suggestions, and anything, related to work, collaboration. My master's supervisor is also, so I have very so many mentors which I feel lucky of. So Professor Subramaniam at IIT Hyderabad, I did my master's project with him, and he visited Japan a few times to give invited talks. And now we are in a talks of collaborating with each other. And then I moved to my last position at Shizuoka University, a group of Professor Fukuhara and Professor Watanabe. They were also, very much supportive. So these are the person I look up to, so that not just look up to, but also kind of, looking forward to work together with them to be able to, do much more exciting work in future. Looking forward. Okay, so one thing which is exciting here, which was not happening actually in Japan when I was working as a tenure track assistant professor. So there I had everything. I had funding, I had a laboratory, I had to establish the laboratory. But what was lacking was the students. So getting those students in a foreign country and convince them to pursue PhD is not easy. I mean, they more or less they have a mindset towards industrial, aspect. And if someone is doing PhD in Japan, that means they are very much, interested in. Of course, in India as well as this, that's the same case. But getting students, to work with you, it's a difficult thing, and you have to arrange so many fundings and applications, so it's a tiresome process. But in India, I mean, we have so many bright students and talented minds, and the fellowships being supported by CSIR, UGC, and IIT Delhi, so they all are, kind of supplying the funding to these students, or very young students. Let's say they are 20, in my group they are 21, 22 years old, they are getting their fully funded PhD scholarships. So having these young minds or talented, bright minds working with me. And not just these, I'm really looking forward, to grow from here on from 4 to 10 to 15, depending on our capacity. So this is the thing that, to interact with them and to be able to grow into a very fully fleshed, established group is what I'm looking forward for the next few years. And this is a dream right now.